Hi everyone, it's Jennifer. I am in a little park just outside the Musée Picasso, or the Picasso Museum, and I'm about to go in and check out a couple of temporary exhibits. So there are two that I know of at the moment. The first just opened a couple of days ago. It's by Orlan, and it's called Les Femmes qui pleurent sont en colère, or the weeping women are angry. So we'll go take a look at that, and then after that is a larger temporary exhibit called Maya Ruiz, La Fille de Picasso, or Maya Ruiz, Picasso's daughter, and it's an exhibit about her influence on Picasso's work. So we'll go and take a look at both of those, and then I'll also show you around a little bit of the permanent collection. And I have not been back into this museum since it reopened, so we'll be discovering it together. So let's take a look.
Pablo Picasso first met Marie-Thérèse Walter in 1927. He was in his mid-40s, married, and had a young son. She was 17. They began a passionate love affair that lasted years, and on September 5, 1935, Marie-Thérèse gave birth to Maria de la Concepción, better known as Maya. By the time Maya was born, Pablo was already father to a 14-year-old son, Paul, with his first wife, Olga, a dancer with the Ballet Russe, whom he married in 1918. They separated shortly before Maya's birth due to her imminent arrival. For Picasso, this was also a time of inner turmoil, and he stopped painting between May 1935 and February 1936. This exhibit features nearly 200 works, archive records, and personal objects highlighting the love between Picasso and Maya. To be fair, Picasso immortalized each of his children through his art. Here we see first Paul, known as Paolo, and then Claude and Paloma, children he later had with Françoise Gillot. But we're here to talk about Maya. Picasso painted this portrait of her based on a photograph taken in 1957. In the photograph, she was taking her first steps. Picasso painted no fewer than 14 paintings of Maya between January 1938 and November 1939, many of her with a doll. According to art historian Werner Spies, this is, quote, the most impressive series dedicated to a single child, end quote. Is it just me, or does that last one look a lot like Peppa Pig? But I digress. Let's take a closer look at this painting, Maya à la poupée et au cheval, or Maya with doll and horse. On the surface, the painting is what the title suggests it is, but there's a double meaning, a sacred image of the Holy Family. The doll's face looks uncannily like Picasso's, and Maya's looks a lot like Marie-Thérèse. The kiss that Maya gives her doll, where their mouths, noses, and chins fuse, this symbolizes the joy that Marie-Thérèse and Maya brought to Picasso. But it wasn't just painting that Maya inspired, also sculpture. Let's talk about some of the other things that Maya and Pablo did together. They would often draw and paint together, father on one side, daughter on the other. Pablo created sketchbooks for her to copy from, and as she got older, for her to fill in on her own. Maya inspired her father to create paper cutouts, cardboard figurines, and entire puppet theaters. He created toys and dolls from whatever he found lying around: wood, wire, thread, fabric, nails. Speaking of using whatever was around, this painting was created by dipping a cotton wool pad into Maya's diaper, into her feces, and applying it to the canvas to make the apple. The end of the exhibit is dedicated to memorabilia. After the war, Picasso and Maya spent more time apart, mostly since he moved to the South after meeting Françoise Gillot. But she remained deeply attached to him, as evidenced by how devoutly she preserved the clothes, nail clippings, and locks of hair he superstitiously sent to her. The top 2 floors of this 4-story museum are dedicated to a selection of audiovisual documents, archival documents, and other such masterpieces. But rather than spend too much time here, let's dive down into the basement for a quick look at the second temporary exhibit. The Musée Picasso is staging a program of contemporary perspectives called Les Femmes qui Pleurent Sont en Colère, where weeping women are angry. The goal is to explore Picasso's legacy, and here we see the work of Orlan, who has created hybridized photographs engaging with paintings and drawings by Picasso from the late 1930s, specifically art that he had created inspired by the face of Dora Maar, his lover at the time. From Orlan, quote, "My creations, all of them political and feminist, are based on a visual search for faces of horror and fear." Picasso objectifies Dora Maar. My rereading of Picasso's work places the woman, the subject, back at the center. End quote. Orlan, Les Femmes qui Pleurent Sont en Colère will be at the Musée Picasso until September 4th, 2022. Maya Ruiz-Picasso, La Fille de Pablo, which I highly recommend, will be on display until December 31st, 2022.